Awaken your spirit, chosen ones. Some people in high places don't watch the world. They watch the ones the world keeps overlooking. That's the kind of truth nobody warns chosen ones about. You can be walking through your day thinking you're invisible, struggling, minding your business, trying to heal your wounds. And meanwhile, someone with influence, status, and unimaginable access has already taken note of you. Not because you asked for attention, not because you're loud, but because something about you sets off an internal radar in people who usually don't react to anything. Here's a fact that will make this hit even harder. Psychologists have confirmed that human beings instinctively track anomalies in their environment. Anything that stands out from the predictable flow. You might not see yourself as an anomaly, but elite people do. And the irony is almost comical. You're living life wondering why even your phone battery doesn't respect you, while someone who sits on a board, a panel, or a private jet is keeping an eye on your evolution. Your presence carries a kind of unpredictability that draws powerful attention. You're not performing, yet you're being observed. You're not networking, yet your name is floating through conversations you have never been invited to. You're not trying to signal anything, yet your energy signals everything. It's almost unfair, like you're starring in a documentary you didn't sign up for and the directors are people you've never even seen. But that's what makes this story so compelling. You are being watched not for what you have, but for who you are becoming. Not for your material status, but for your spiritual stature. Not for your noise, but for the way your presence interrupts the unseen patterns around you. Some elite individuals don't monitor trends. They monitor souls that rise without permission. And whether you realize it or not, your rise has already been noticed. This is the part of your journey where everything you thought was hidden about you becomes the very thing that draws silent, powerful eyes in your direction. It's not paranoia, it's recognition. It's not coincidence, it's alignment. And it's not the universe trying to intimidate you. It's life subtly revealing just how significant you truly are. Let's go deeper. Number 1. The elite don't study you, they monitor the frequency you operate on. Most people think influence is about being seen, being loud, or being strategically positioned. But the truth is, elite people rarely use their attention on anything that doesn't affect the atmosphere around them. They're not watching your behavior the way ordinary people do. They're tuned into the frequency you emit, the internal signal that leaks out of your spirit, whether you speak or stay silent. A person with true power can sense someone who carries uncommon energy long before that person becomes successful. They don't need your resume to know you're built differently. They can feel it. Chosen ones carry a kind of internal voltage that subtly disrupts the emotional temperature around them, and those who sit in high places notice shifts like that instantly. They're trained to sense energies that don't fit the usual patterns of ambition, desperation, or performance. You might see yourself as someone just going through life, trying to figure things out, but to them, your presence behaves like a rare signal that stands out from everyday noise. You don't rise the way normal people rise. You elevate without permission, without connections, without playing the games people usually play. That alone makes you worthy of observation. Your frequency is the thing they can't imitate. It's the part of you that can't be taught in seminars, inherited from family wealth, or acquired through reputation. It's a kind of spiritual resonance that reveals strength even when you feel tired, clarity even when you feel lost, and purity even when you've been surrounded by chaos. They're not drawn to your accomplishments. They're drawn to the evidence that your energy is sourced from something deeper than effort. What's wild is that you're not even trying to be noticed. You don't broadcast yourself. You don't perform for approval, yet your presence travels before your words do. And the elite, who are constantly surrounded by people pretending to be confident, can instantly recognize someone who isn't pretending at all. That's why they monitor your frequency. It's the one thing you carry that they can't buy, can't decode, and can't ignore. Number 2. Your name is circulating in rooms you haven't even heard of yet. There's a strange part of being a chosen one that nobody prepares you for. Your life starts traveling faster than you do. While you're busy surviving, healing, building, or just trying to get through your week, your name has already entered conversations you've never been present for. People with influence and access have discussed you without ever shaking your hand. They've analyzed parts of your story you didn't even know anyone noticed, and it's not because you're famous or loud, it's because your journey carries weight. In elite circles, information moves with intention. People don't speak about just anyone. They pay attention to individuals who shift energy when they walk into a room, who rise without help, who survive things that should have ruined them. You're not being talked about because you fit in. You're being talked about because you don't. Your reputation is quietly building itself through the way you carry yourself, through the things you've overcome, through the level of grace you've shown during situations where others would have exploded. That silent strength travels. Someone sees the way you stand alone. Someone notices the way you handle pressure. Someone has observed the way life tested you repeatedly and you still didn't fold. Those details become conversations among people who value rare character more than flashy talent. It's humbling and almost unbelievable. But powerful individuals often know about you long before you know about them. You're being evaluated from a distance. You're being whispered about in good ways. You're being brought up in discussions by people who find your resilience refreshing in a world full of shortcuts and shortcuts gone wrong. This is why your journey feels bigger than you sometimes. It's because it is. Your name has started to carry its own presence. It walks into spaces before you arrive. It intrigues people who are used to predictable personalities. You might feel overlooked, but behind closed doors, you are anything but invisible. By the time you show up in the rooms meant for you, the introduction will already be done. Your name will have already softened the ground. You'll step in and realize you weren't waiting on the world. The world was preparing for you. Number 3. They're not watching your success. They're studying the fact that you didn't break. Elite people are surrounded by individuals who crumble easily. They see people panic under pressure, compromise their values for convenience, and fold the moment something becomes uncomfortable. So when someone like you comes along, someone who has endured storms, betrayals, setbacks, and silent battles while still holding on to integrity, they notice. They can't ignore it. Your journey stands out because you continued standing long after life gave you reasons to fall apart. What fascinates them isn't the outer achievements you're working toward. It's the internal stability you've built without guidance, without privilege, and without shortcuts. They're not impressed by results. They've seen results bought, manipulated, manufactured, or faked. What they can't replicate is the kind of survival that reshapes a person's character. They want to understand how you stayed grounded when everything around you was shaking. They want to understand how you walked through pain without letting bitterness take over. They want to understand how you kept rebuilding yourself in private when nobody applauded or acknowledged your struggle. People in high positions know that true strength isn't flashy. It's quiet. It's consistent. It's the type of strength that comes from surviving blows that were meant to break your spirit. They know very well that not everyone walks away from deep wounds with clarity and purpose. Yet you did. That's what makes them watch you so closely. They're studying the way you responded when life wasn't fair. They're paying attention to how you handled disrespect without losing yourself. They've noticed how you didn't allow trauma to twist your spirit. These are the qualities that can't be taught in leadership seminars but are essential for people who lead with real influence. Your resilience has become something like a blueprint for them. a blueprint they can't openly admit they admire. To them, your endurance is more valuable than your achievements because it reveals who you'll become once doors open. They're not watching your wins, they're watching your spine. They're watching the strength that refused to die. And that strength is the quiet force that has already separated you from the crowd. Number 4, your authenticity is considered dangerous intelligence in elite circles. In the world of influence, the most powerful people don't fear talent, money, or ambition. Those things are predictable. What unsettles them is authenticity, because authenticity can't be manipulated, purchased, or programmed. When someone operates from a place of truth instead of ego or desperation, the entire system struggles to categorize them. And that's exactly where you stand. You confuse the structure because you don't play by the emotional and psychological rules they use to assess everyone else. Elite individuals have learned to read people quickly. They can spot hidden motives. They can smell insecurity. They can instantly identify those who will do anything for approval or access. But when they look at you, the usual markers aren't there. You don't operate from greed. You don't crave validation. You don't twist yourself to fit into rooms. You don't change your personality depending on who's watching. That level of selfhood is rare, and in elite environments, rare equals unpredictable. Unpredictable equals dangerous. Not dangerous in a negative sense, but dangerous in the sense that you can't be controlled through the usual power tools: attention, status, fear, or opportunity. You move from your internal compass, not external rewards. You choose integrity even when it costs you. You stay grounded even when people try to provoke you. You operate from sincerity in spaces where most people perform. This is why your presence disrupts their mental calculations. You don't react the way they expect, and you don't behave in ways that can be forecasted. People who sit at the top rely heavily on their ability to read and manage others. They use patterns to predict behavior, loyalty, strength, and weakness. When they meet someone authentic, the pattern breaks. Suddenly they're paying extra attention. Suddenly they're curious. Suddenly they're cautious. Authenticity threatens the invisible systems that rely on performance and pretense. When you show up as yourself, without pretending, it exposes the layers of artificial confidence around you. And even the elite feel that. This is why they watch you. Your truth makes you uncontrollable, and uncontrollable people shift power without even trying. Number 5. Someone powerful has already identified you as an outlier. Being noticed by the elite isn't always about fame or visibility. In your case, it's much deeper. You've been flagged. You're not just another face in the crowd. You're a deviation from the patterns they study. You don't fit the expected mold, and that makes you stand out in ways the powerful cannot ignore. You're a statistical anomaly, a person who progresses, grows, and evolves without the usual network's privileges or handholds. That uniqueness alone sets you apart in their calculations. Elite people are trained to recognize anomalies because anomalies matter. They know that someone who doesn't fit conventional patterns is often the one capable of disrupting systems, inspiring movements, or leading change in ways that structured planning cannot predict. You've risen without following the expected rules, and that unpredictability signals potential, both promising and, to them, worth monitoring. It's not a spotlight moment, it's an evaluation. They're assessing your trajectory, your resilience, and your ability to navigate challenges in a way that sets you apart from the masses. What makes you truly compelling to them isn't your accomplishments. It's the fact that your rise has been organic. You haven't relied on influence or shortcuts. You've created results through persistence, insight, and your own internal drive. That type of emergence is rare, and in the eyes of those with power, it's almost like discovering a pattern that no algorithm can predict. Being an outlier comes with a strange duality. On one side, you're quietly moving through life, unaware of the attention your presence demands. On the other, your every action, decision, and reaction is being observed, measured, and stored by people who understand that someone like you could shape outcomes far beyond what most imagine. You're not just different, you're consequential. And the elite know it. You've already been recognized as a force that doesn't follow expected paths, and that recognition alone has set you apart. You're no longer invisible. You're under evaluation, and that makes your life far more significant than you realize. Number 6, they see the one thing you've been trained to downplay, your spiritual authority. You've spent most of your life thinking you're just trying to make it through the day, trying to keep yourself together, trying not to fall apart. But what you don't realize is that the people observing you, especially those with influence and spiritual sensitivity, see something far bigger operating around you. They see the authority you carry even when you're trying to act normal. They see the way life adjusts itself in your favor, not because everything goes smoothly, but because things that were supposed to crush you somehow lose their power. Elite individuals who have real discernment can identify when someone carries a spiritual mandate. They notice the unusual protection you walk with. They notice the strange timing that always works for you. They notice how situations that are supposed to ruin people end up redirecting you instead. They've watched you face attacks, public ones, private ones, emotional ones, and still maintain a certain clarity that shouldn't be possible after everything you've lived through. That's not luck, that's authority. And while you may have been trained to shrink, to dim yourself, to downplay your strength so others feel comfortable, these powerful observers aren't fooled. They see right through your attempts to make yourself seem ordinary. They can see the spiritual structure around you, the kind of invisible backing that cannot be bought or inherited. They see that certain doors open for you without explanation. They see how people who plot against you always expose themselves eventually. They see how situations twist themselves into your advantage at the last second, almost like a quiet force is coordinating on your behalf. This is what spiritual authority looks like in real time. You don't have to speak it. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to prove it. It shows up in the way your life refuses to collapse. It reveals itself in the way storms fade right before they swallow you. People with influence respect this more than you know. They've seen enough to recognize when someone is being carried by something higher. And even when you pretend to be small, they already know you're walking with a presence much bigger than anything you've been taught to see in yourself. Number 7. Your resilience has become a case study. You've gone through so much that you've become used to surviving, but what you see as getting through it has become something much more significant in the eyes of powerful people. They are not just watching you, some are literally studying you. Your resilience has turned into a kind of living research project for those who understand how unusual your strength really is. Most people break under prolonged pressure. Most people lose pieces of themselves while trying to rebuild. But you've managed to recover from circumstances that would have derailed entire families, careers, and futures. That alone puts you in a category few people ever reach. Elite individuals value resilience in a way regular people often don't. They know that true leadership, true potential, and true impact are built on the ability to withstand pressure without losing direction. So when they watch someone like you, someone who has survived betrayals, heartbreaks, failures, financial storms, emotional battles, and spiritual warfare while still holding on to their identity, they pay attention, not in a casual way, but in a calculated, observant, analytical way. Your choices during your lowest moments are what fascinate them most. The way you stayed calm when you had every reason to break character, the way you walked away instead of collapsing into chaos, the way you rebuilt quietly instead of seeking attention. Your timing, your composure, your ability to rise again, These are qualities that can't be taught in seminars or boardrooms. These are traits that come from being tested in real life. They look at how you processed pain without letting it turn you into someone bitter or destructive. They study how you managed to keep your dignity while being disrespected. They analyze how you carried yourself during moments when it felt like everything was stacked against you. All of these details make you a blueprint of uncommon strength. What you consider survival, they consider strategy. What you call endurance, they call excellence. They're not just impressed, they're learning from you. And the most incredible part, you didn't become this version of yourself for recognition. You became it because life demanded it. Now that resilience has positioned you as a quiet master of strength, one powerful enough to be studied, but humble enough to not even realize it. Number 8, you expose the illusion of power by simply existing. Powerful people are used to operating in environments where authority is measured by titles, money, networks, and influence. Their world is built on structures, hierarchies, systems, protocols, and access. But when someone like you shows up, someone who survives without those things, someone who stands firm without the usual support, an uncomfortable truth begins to surface. A lot of what they call power is really just structure, and structure isn't the same as strength. Your life disrupts the narrative they've built around authority. You move without status, but carry conviction. You lack the backing they rely on, but still have an impact they can't understand. You don't hold a position in their hierarchy, yet you command a presence that can't be dismissed. This forces them to recognize something they don't often admit. Many people with influence are propped up by the roles they occupy, not the character they possess. You're different. You've survived storms with zero cushioning. You've walked through battles without resources or privilege. You've held your ground without anyone stepping in to shield you. That kind of survival exposes the truth about strength. It doesn't come from what you hold in your hands. It comes from what you hold in your spirit. When they see you move through life with a groundedness they can't mimic, they start questioning the foundation of their own authority. They're surrounded by individuals who crumble when their power is challenged, but you don't. Your stability comes from a deeper place, from experience, from faith, from scars that taught you wisdom, from intuition sharpened by hardship. You've become a reminder that true power is internal. It's rooted, it's spiritual, and it can't be bought. You walk through situations they wouldn't survive without their networks, yet you navigate them with patience, clarity, and strength. That's why your existence alone exposes the illusion. You prove that influence doesn't make a person powerful. Inner alignment does. You prove that structures can elevate someone, but they cannot make them unbreakable. And you prove day after day that someone equipped spiritually can stand taller than someone equipped materially. You didn't set out to reveal this truth. Your life simply makes it impossible to deny. Number 9. Your growth pace is alarming to people who thought they outranked you. People in powerful positions are accustomed to growth that follows a neat, predictable timeline. They measure progress in degrees, promotions, connections, and opportunities. But your evolution doesn't follow their logic. You grow in sudden, undeniable shifts, changes that don't match your environment, your resources, or the limitations you've had to navigate. Instead of moving forward step by step, you leap. And those leaps unsettle people who assumed they would always be ahead of you. What they can't understand is how someone with fewer advantages ends up developing faster. While they rely on structured mentorship or elite systems to advance, you've been shaped by life itself. You didn't grow in comfortable environments. You grew through pressure, disappointment, loss, and the kind of personal battles that force the mind to sharpen and the spirit to mature. That's why your growth comes in bursts. You don't just improve, You transform. You don't just get better. You become unrecognizable in the best way. They've watched you go through seasons that should have left you stuck, yet you returned with more clarity, more discipline, more spiritual strength, and more emotional intelligence than before. That's not normal. That's disruption. To elite observers, sudden growth is a warning sign, because it means you're not being shaped by their systems. You're being shaped by something much more powerful and independent. And the most unsettling part? You grow most after pain. They see it clearly. When regular people collapse, you rebuild. When others slow down, you accelerate. When most would drown in self-pity, you reappear with a sharper vision and a cleaner mind. Your resilience doesn't just make you strong, it accelerates your evolution in ways they can't calculate. This is why your progress alarms those who expected you to remain beneath them. They relied on the assumption that privilege would always outpace raw growth. But you've proven the opposite. A person developing from depth, introspection, and spiritual alignment will always outrun someone developing from comfort. Your pace terrifies them because they're already imagining what you'll become once you have the resources, support, or opportunities they take for granted. If you're this formidable without them, they know you'll be unstoppable with them. And that realization shakes their hierarchy more than they'll ever admit. Number 10. They're watching the people who tried to destroy you fail in real time. There are people in high places who don't just look at you, they study everything connected to you. They pay attention not only to your rise, but to the downfall of those who tried to block it. They've watched people gossip about you only to embarrass themselves later. They've watched people team up against you only to turn on each other. They've watched people lie on your name only to get exposed by their own behavior. To them, this isn't coincidence. It's data. It's evidence. It's something they track because patterns don't lie. And the pattern around you is unmistakable. Every person who tried to sabotage you ends up sabotaging themselves. It's not because you fight back or retaliate. It's because something higher surrounds you. Something protects your name, even when your mouth stays closed. Something redirects the arrows meant for you. Something ensures every trap set for you collapses under the one who built it. The elite respect anything they can't explain, and they can't explain how you keep walking away untouched while your enemies collapse under the weight of their own intentions. They see people around you losing access, losing credibility, losing opportunities, all after trying to tamper with your life. They see how anyone who mishandles you ends up paying a price that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with divine order. For them, this is the biggest red flag and green flag at the same time. Red flag because they know they must approach you with caution. Green flag because they know you're operating under something bigger than social status, wealth, or human connections. You've become a live demonstration of spiritual law. Your life is proving that protection isn't random. It's structured, it's consistent, it's targeted. And when powerful people notice a pattern like that, they don't dismiss it. They respect it. They watch it closely, because anyone who carries that kind of favor is someone whose future is already written in a way that no enemy can rewrite. Number 11. You're showing them a level of self-control they can't buy. People in high places are used to seeing power expressed loudly through money, status, authority, and intimidation. What they don't encounter often is someone who holds power quietly, someone who moves with intention instead of impulse, someone who knows how to stay calm when provoked, stay silent when lied on, and stay focused when surrounded by chaos. That's the kind of strength you model, and it's the one thing their influence can't purchase or manufacture. They notice how you handle pressure without exploding, how you refuse to react just because someone wants a reaction, how you don't chase validation, don't beg for recognition, and don't crumble when the spotlight shifts away from you. They see a person who understands timing, who knows when to speak and when to let silence do the speaking for them. And even though they live in a world full of loud, impulsive, attention-seeking people, you stand out because you don't operate from ego. You operate from discipline. Your restraint has become a signal of your inner power. It shows you're guided by something deeper than emotion and stronger than fear. They're used to people who break under pressure or expose themselves through careless actions. But you don't. You choose your responses like someone who knows their value. You move like someone who's aware that everything doesn't deserve your energy. And that's what makes them pay attention. They respect you because you're not swayed by provocation. They watch you because you don't react the way ordinary people do. They study you because your calm reveals a mastery they can't teach in any boardroom or leadership school. You're showing them that real dominance isn't loud, it's controlled. Real strength doesn't need validation. It's self-assured. Real power isn't about what you can do. It's about what you can choose not to do. Your self-control tells them what your future already holds. Influence that can't be manipulated, purpose that can't be rushed, and a destiny that can't be derailed by anyone who doesn't operate at your level. Number 12. Your spirit doesn't bow to status, and that's why they respect you. People in high positions are surrounded by individuals who shrink, perform, flatter, or over-adjust themselves the moment a title enters the room. They're used to people who treat status like a spotlight they must dance under. But then there's you, someone who doesn't shift their tone, energy, or identity just because someone important walks by. That difference hits harder than you realize. Where others bend, you stay centered. Where others scramble to impress, you remain grounded. Where others lose themselves, you stay rooted in who you are. They notice instantly that your confidence isn't borrowed from titles or environments. It comes from within. You don't approach them with the energy of someone begging for acceptance. You don't inflate your words to appear intellectual or diminish your personality to seem humble. You operate with an ease that tells them you value your own presence just as much as theirs. And in elite circles, that kind of self-possession is rare and respected. They've seen people pretend, shapeshift, and adjust their identity 1,000 times just to fit into a room. You, however, don't do theatrics. You show up as the same person every time. Your authenticity doesn't tremble under pressure. Your spirit doesn't shrink to make anyone else feel bigger. That consistency makes them rethink their assumptions about you. It signals that you're someone who can't be intimidated, manipulated, or cheapened. They respect you silently because your stability exposes the insecurity in people who rely on status to feel important. Your presence reminds them that true worth is internal, not stamped onto a name badge or tied to a bank account. You make it clear that you don't see yourself as beneath them, but you also don't behave as if you're above them. You meet people exactly where they stand, with no fear and no pedestal, and that's what sets you apart. When you don't chase entry, the doors that matter start to open themselves. When you don't beg for belonging, you naturally become someone they consider bringing closer. Your spirit doesn't bow, and that's precisely why powerful people watch you with curiosity and respect you without saying a word. Number 13. You carry knowledge. You never studied, and that's what scares them. There's something unsettling about a person who speaks with clarity they never formally earned. You're one of those people. You have an understanding of things you were never taught. You make decisions with a precision that can't be traced to your upbringing, your environment, or any mentor. You see through situations before they unfold. You recognize people's intentions without needing long explanations. You grasp complex truths that people twice your age still struggle to comprehend. That kind of unexplainable intelligence grabs the attention of anyone who operates at high levels. Elite individuals, especially those accustomed to navigating power structures, know what learned intelligence looks like. They know what money, exposure, or education usually produces. But you stand outside those formulas. Your insight appears without the traditional pathway. No elite school, no privileged circles, no specialized training. Yet you understand things people spend years trying to master. That's why they pay attention. You break the equation. You prove that knowledge can come from a place beyond textbooks and tutors. When you speak, it's not rehearsed. When you analyze something, it's not forced. Your clarity flows naturally, like you're tapping into a stream that others don't have access to. That makes people who rely on worldly systems uncomfortable. They trust patterns, data, and credentials. With you, none of those things explain your depth. It makes them question what's guiding you and who's backing you spiritually. You've probably downplayed this part of yourself most of your life because it felt strange or too much. But others see it clearly. They recognize a kind of intuitive intelligence that only shows up in people who are spiritually connected, spiritually protected, or spiritually sent. Your instincts are too accurate. Your timing is too aligned. Your clarity is too strong. You operate as if you're receiving information from a higher source, and that's exactly why they find you both fascinating and intimidating. They can't measure you. They can't predict you. They can't box in where your knowledge comes from. And when someone can't be explained, they become someone who must be watched. Number 14. You're walking into rooms where your spirit arrived years before you. Long before your name ever crossed anyone's lips, something about your energy was already circulating. You weren't in the room physically, but your presence was felt like a quiet announcement. Powerful people are extremely perceptive. They don't just respond to achievements. They respond to energy signatures, patterns, and the sense that someone important is rising long before the world sees it. Your spirit went ahead of you and marked territories your feet are only now reaching, and that's why certain rooms feel strangely familiar, even when it's your first time stepping into them. Elite people have an unusual sensitivity to potential. They can sense a person whose path has a higher calling attached to it. They don't know your struggles, your past, or your doubts. What they sense is trajectory. What they feel is destiny moving with intention. When you walk in, it feels like a confirmation of something they've subconsciously felt for years, that someone with a rare kind of purpose was on their way. They're not surprised by who you're becoming. They're surprised it took this long for you to show up physically. For most of your life, you've felt delayed, overlooked, or out of place. But behind the scenes, the spiritual version of you, the one fully aligned with your calling, has been walking ahead, opening doors, stirring atmospheres, and drawing attention without you saying a word. That's why certain opportunities seem to appear suddenly. That's why certain people treat you with a level of respect you haven't even grown into yet. They're responding to who you're destined to be, not who you think you are right now. Your journey is catching up to the prophecy that's been attached to your name since before you understood your own potential. Every room you walk into feels the weight of something that arrived early, the purpose you carry, the favor that surrounds you, and the spiritual authority that precedes you. Elite individuals are paying attention because they're witnessing alignment in real time. They're seeing someone step into a space they were spiritually drafted into long ago. You weren't chosen when you arrived. Your arrival is just the physical confirmation of what was already chosen. Conclusion. The truth is, being a chosen one means living in a reality few will ever understand. Every step you take, every move you make, and every silent victory you achieve is quietly observed by forces and individuals who recognize the extraordinary energy you carry. The elite aren't impressed by titles, wealth, or loud displays. They're captivated by the undeniable strength, spiritual authority, and authenticity you exhibit without even trying. You are a living anomaly, a person who grows beyond expectation, who survives what should have destroyed them, and who carries wisdom and insight that cannot be taught or bought. Your life is a study in resilience, a blueprint in discipline, and a testament to power that originates from within rather than from external systems. You move in ways that disrupt the ordinary, and your presence exposes the illusion of authority built on material and social constructs. People who thought they outranked you now quietly watch, learning from your self-control, authenticity, and unshakable spirit. You are proof that true influence does not rely on noise or manipulation. It comes from a higher alignment, an energy that precedes recognition and commands attention even before your physical presence arrives. Every adversary who tried to harm you has become part of your elevation. Every challenge you endured became a stepping stone, and every room you enter has already been prepared by the spirit you carry. The elite notice this, the powerful pay attention, and all of this is happening while you continue being unapologetically yourself. Your life is evidence that influence, authority, and respect are not given. They are recognized in those who refuse to bend, compromise, or dim their light for anyone. You are living proof that spiritual, mental, and emotional mastery is a form of power that even the highest echelons of society cannot ignore. Your journey is not just personal, it's a signal, a pattern, a message to the world that true greatness cannot be manufactured, controlled, or contained. If this resonates with you, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay connected with more powerful insights. Like this video if it reminded you of your strength. Comment below and share your story, because your energy matters and needs to be seen. And most importantly, share this with someone who needs to be reminded of their true power, because the world notices, even when you think it doesn't. Your journey is extraordinary, and the ones who see it know it already. Stay awakened, chosen ones.